Hello and welcome back to the Wrestling Group. I'm your host, as always, Ryan, and today we are going back and doing another top five. We haven't done one of these in a little while, but here we have our latest one, and it is top five WWE draft picks. Now, the draft has been a mainstay in WWE, used to shake up both brands with talent switching shows and giving us fresher storylines and new matchups that we haven't seen before. Over the last few years, though, the draft hasn't really meant much, but a few years back, it was a major part in the WWE and helped with some superstars being pushed into the spotlight and taking their careers to the next level. So, that's what we're going to do today. We are going to do our top five WWE draft picks in the history of WWE. And as always, you can pick your top five as well and let us know in the comment section. Obviously, let me know if there's any that you think I have missed out, or if you think there's any I have included that maybe shouldn't be in there, in your opinion. So, as always, we will count down from five down to one. Five being obviously the lowest, and number one being the best or the greatest ever WWE draft pick. So we'll start in at number five, and that is Bayley being drafted to SmackDown in 2019. Bayley's run as face on Raw had become stale, with her mainly being used basically to get over the heels. Even though she was the face, normally it's the heels that are used to get over the faces, but unfortunately Bayley as a face was used to try and put the heels over on the Raw brand. In the 2019 Superstar Shake-Up, so not technically a WWE draft, if you like, but basically that's what it was. It was just they wanted to make it more sports entertainment like, and called it a Superstar Shake-Up, which we all know it's just the draft. Bayley moved to SmackDown and she became heel herself. This pushed Bayley up the card, even seeing her capture the Money in the Bank briefcase before successfully cashing in and becoming SmackDown Women's Champ. So basically, she went from someone who was used to put everyone else over to go into the other brand and getting a Money in the Bank briefcase and a championship run as well not long after. So that is Bayley in at number five. So we'll go to number four. It's another SmackDown one. Batista, the Animal Batista, his move to SmackDown in 2005. Seems like forever ago that now. Like, it's nuts to think. Like, in some ways, when you say 2005, it does seem like a long time ago, but in other ways, especially in terms of wrestling, it doesn't feel that long ago. But we're in 2024, so 2005 next year is 2 decades ago, 20 years ago. It's been 20 years since Batista moved from Raw to SmackDown. That just seems absolutely insane. With John Cena moving to Raw, SmackDown was left without a world champion. That was until the last draft pick, and Batista, who was world heavyweight champion on Raw at the time, was drafted over to SmackDown. Which I do remember because it was quite funny, because obviously at the time Raw already had Batista as the world champ, and then John Cena moved over with the WWE Championship, so they had two world champions. SmackDown had none. So then they decided to do a whole tournament to determine a new SmackDown Championship, SmackDown World Championship, which was won by JBL. So then JBL thought he was going to be given this new championship, so he thought he'd become world champ for the second time, only for Teddy Long to come out and say, actually, you are the number one contender to this, man. And obviously Batista come out and the crowd went nuts. Batista's 2006 on SmackDown wasn't very memorable though. but Batista then pushed on and had a fantastic 2007. Feuding with Edge and The Undertaker throughout the year made the blue brand must see and was some of the Animal's best ever work. Some of the times he main evented multiple pay-per-views as either world champion or as the challenger. So if you look at that, and don't forget he was a WWE Tag Team Champion with Rey Mysterio as well when he was world champion. But I'd say these aren't just how it affected necessarily straight away, although some of them can be. If it was a drastic change, like Bayley's was a drastic change pretty much straight away, then that could be the reason for them being in this. But with the likes of Batista, yes, he was world champ when he moved over, and he still had a half decent run in 2005. 2006 was mainly forgettable, but obviously 2007 he pushed on and became a main guy. And so it may not just be what's happened straight away. You might have to play the long game. But Batista moving to SmackDown in 2005 comes in at my number 4. So we move on to number 3, and I know there's a few of you out there that won't be happy to see this guy's name in here because you don't believe that he is a top guy, but it's got to be. In 2009, The Miz moved to Raw. Now, Miz is one of them guys, he's like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. There's not really any in between, is there? But whether or not you like him is besides the point. The Miz moving to Raw in 2009 was a massive change in his career. The Miz and John Morrison were a tag team on the ECW brand before the 2009 draft. They've been appearing on all 3 brands when they reigned as tag team champions. Miz and Morrison were actually in the ring at the time that it was announced that Miz was drafted to Raw, and Miz immediately took out Morrison and laid him clean out in the ring. Miz in 2010 was his best year of his career. He captured the Money in the Bank briefcase and successfully cashed in to become WWE champion. He then went on to main event WrestleMania, and I'm pretty sure it'll surprise you because I don't think he's ever mentioned the fact that he's main evented WrestleMania. And not only did he just main event WrestleMania, not only did he main event WrestleMania against John Cena, he main evented WrestleMania against John Cena and still beat him and come away with the WWE Championship. So going from a comedy act type tag team with Morrison in ECW, in WWE's version of ECW, which was poor, to going to the top guy on Raw, winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, successfully cashing it in and main eventing WrestleMania against John Cena. When you looked at the two of them, whether Miz and Morrison, whether or not you were a fan of one or the other, you would have picked Morrison to be the guy to go on to do them things. But they put all that into the Miz instead, and he ended up coming in at number 3 on our list of The Miz to Raw in 2009. So what could be better than The Miz? Well, two people are better than The Miz. 2 drafts. So we'll go in at number 2. AJ Styles being drafted to SmackDown in 2016. So in 2016, WWE reintroduced the brand split. So technically he wasn't on a brand really beforehand because there wasn't that brand split, was there? It was just sort of a mix between. But AJ Styles was drafted to the blue brand, and he would hit the ground running at the house that AJ Styles built. If you remember, that was his catchphrase at the time. Styles' first run as WWE champion came not long after the draft when he defeated Dean Ambrose at Backlash. I wonder whatever happened to that guy, Dean Ambrose. If you know what happened to Dean Ambrose, let me know in the comment section. I'm only joking. We all know it's John Moxley. Styles put all eyes on the SmackDown brand with some great defences of the title, and even added a second WWE Championship run while on the SmackDown brand in 2017, and that would last over a year. So it's not necessarily pushing someone who is like a mid card wrestler, if you like, and then pushing them into the main event spot. Because in all honesty, when the brand was reintroduced, he wasn't. He wasn't a top guy, but he wasn't really a mid card guy. He debuted at the Royal Rumble, didn't he? And he had that massive pop, and then he just sort of filtered around a little bit, and then he had that thing with Chris Jericho, where were they friends, weren't they friends type situation, and then we had Y2AJ for about a week, before they had the match at WrestleMania, and then obviously he lost, and they didn't really have much all else for him to do, because they never really seen him originally when they were bringing him in. They never actually seen him coming in as a top guy. So then when he did move to SmackDown, he then takes the belt from Dean Ambrose, who was a massive fan favourite at the time and was really over in WWE, and he ran with it. So I suppose, yeah, it does push him up, but I mean, just for the simple fact that when he was obviously drafted officially to SmackDown and not between the shows, he then had a WWE Championship run pretty much straight after, and then went on to basically be a WWE champion for over a year as well. He was involved in all the main storylines on SmackDown. He main evented the pay-per-views like consistently for a long time for SmackDown. So there's no doubt that AJ Styles has to be in this list, and he comes in at number 2. So that only means there's only one more draft pick to go. So we'll go run it down as always from 5 down to 1. So in at number 5 was Bayley and her draft to SmackDown in 2019. Number 4 was Batista and his draft also to SmackDown in 2005. The Miz in at number 3, drafted to Raw from ECW in 2009. In at number 2, AJ Styles, drafted to SmackDown in 2016. So that puts SmackDown with 3 votes to 1 so far. So in at number 1, you've probably guessed it, it is John Cena, drafted to Raw in 2005. Like I said before, same draft obviously as Batista. John Cena was the very first pick, Batista was the very last pick, and it's where they switched the champions and the titles. They switched brands, which I'm pretty sure is the first time they've done this. During the Chris Jericho highlight reel, John Cena, then WWE champion on SmackDown, was revealed as Raw's first pick in the 2005 draft, and the crowd went absolutely insane. Like, there's just no describing. If you go back and watch it, it's still a massive pop, and probably the biggest pop actually from a crowd in WWE draft history, if you like. Cena had recently become the top guy on SmackDown, but it was on Raw that Cena really pushed on and became the guy of the entire company. Cena then stayed on Raw for 11 years until 2016. Cena went on to add multiple title reigns to his achievements, including, who can forget, his brilliant run as the United States Champion, where he would issue open challenges week on week and had some of the best matches in his career on a weekly Raw show. And don't forget, he's had other phenomenal Raw matches, even if you disregard the pay-per-views. Don't forget that banging match against Shawn Michaels, which was on Raw as well. So that is my top 5 WWE draft picks. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments section below. That's it, I've just realised that rhymes. But there you have it. So we have our top 5 WWE draft picks in history, and number 1 being obviously the leader of the C Nation, John Cena himself. So, like I say, let me know. Is there anyone that you feel like I've missed off? Is there anyone that I have added? Maybe that shouldn't be in here. I'm pretty sure there'll be a couple of you going, "Ooh, the Miz," because like I say, Miz is Marmite. But yeah, as always, let us know, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have had some massive groundbreaking views for this channel this past month. I've had absolute phenomenal figures for views, but so many of you have not yet clicked subscribe. You may watch my videos weekly, but don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because obviously the bigger that this grows, the better it will become, the more things I can branch out and start doing. So don't forget, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. So thank you as always for watching, and be sure to keep an eye out for more wrestling related content coming your way very, very soon.